and good evening from the Drew Estate Cigar Studios in Boston, Massachusetts. My name is Matt Tabacco from SmokinTabacco.com, and I am joined once again by my very good friend, Mr. William Cooper, from Indian Trail, North Carolina, and cigar-coop.com. William, it's been 3 weeks, I want to say, but we're finally back again. As you know, schedules can be hectic, and this show sometimes gets pushed around a little bit, but we always make it. So welcome back, buddy. Good to see you again.
Thank you. And I'll take the apology here. My schedule was very difficult with travel, and it was a couple of things where it was like family stuff, and I tried not to do other stuff when the family was around. But sometimes you can't avoid it. You got to just do it. So I appreciate your flexibility and thank you very much.
Absolutely. I actually forgot in the craziness of trying to get the show on the air. I had the smallest blip in the whole world with the show, but unfortunately, sometimes it can appear to be a mountainous of an issue to others. So I did get distracted, and I did not grab my second cigar for the show, and now I'm on the air.
Okay. Well, if you want to grab it, I'll fill airtime if you want to grab it.
Let's wait. Let's wait and see. I don't know. Maybe I can stretch this one out. We'll see.
Okay.
I don't know. And if I need you to fill in airtime, I will. But
yeah. That's what we do here.
It's all good. So, what are you smoking tonight?
I am smoking the EP Carrillo Short Run 2022.
Oh, nice.
This is the Toro size that they call extended play. This short run's a really nice addition that they've done this year, and I was glad when the short runs came back last year because that's one of my favorite lines from EP Carrillo. So this is one I would definitely advise getting your hands on. Once the short runs are gone, they're gone, and you can't find them again. So I definitely recommend that one for sure. This is a Maduro version of the short run too. So, and like I said, a lot of the feedback on this cigar is very good.
Yeah, I've seen that cigar run. I haven't had a chance to have it myself yet. So that's interesting that you have that on there. I am smoking I was already smoking, and now I have hopefully someone on the way with that bag of cigars that I needed. But for now, I'm smoking the Davidoff Nicaragua, which has been really good. I don't think I've actually had the Nicaragua yet.
That's the box press?
No, this is the
okay.
Like the torpedo? It was a torpedo, or maybe it was no, it wasn't a specialty. I think it was it was like a torpedo. Really good.
Those are hard to find. The torpedo those are hard to find, those bellies. So yeah, that's probably the belly you're smoking.
Yeah, I think that's what it was, the belly. It's really good though.
Yeah.
Burns nice. There's a little bit of pepper all the way through, but it's not that strong my father pepper up front. It's more of a very subtle.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's up front and then it burns down and then it kind of mellows away. This is all the way through, but it's just so nice. It's not too much where it's just too much. It's spice all the way through where it's all right, or too much pepper rather. It's subtle where it's just a little taste on the end that you can enjoy the whole way through. It's a little different and it's nice. I like it. Very tasty.
That's good. That's great. Yep, that's a great line. That's a great line.
I'm also I'm wearing my Hawaiian shirt tonight in spirit of just the warm weather here. We're finally in the summertime, and I picked this up, and I just wanted to, and it's on camera. It's so much more colorful. It's wow, it's really.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking bright and festive.
Yeah, I feel like I'm on vacation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going through post-Florida syndrome right now, so
yeah.
It's tough. Please bear with me. It's a tough thing to recover from.
Oh yeah, it's a tough time for sure.
Yeah.
So the comment section is already here. Let me see. Thank you everyone for being here tonight. Mitchell is here. Getting ready for some spare notes. Coop was busy soaking up the rays in Florida. Ain't that the truth? Mark is here with us once again. We have a comment here from the YouTube channel, Rakesh Robbie. Getting a box of Selected Tobacco's new brand Alfonso ? Two Guys says they'll have it late summer. Ambassador Cigars in Arizona will have it shortly, but in commemorative Humies at $1,500 pop. So yes, so this is something that actually caught some attention, and it was so subtle the way that it hit the news, but it was there. As you know, United announced early. It was this week. There
Right.
is going to be a special 25th anniversary humidor, which they've done this for a few other people. They did it for Jeff at Corona.
Right.
They did it for Cigars on the Ave in Winter Park, Florida. Now they're doing one for Vartan down at Ambassador Fine Cigars, and it's going to have I think 10 Byron Distinguidos, 10 Atabay Ritos,
Ritos.
10 of the Bandoleros. I don't remember which Bandoleros they were though. And then there was 10 of the unreleased Alfonso cigars. Now, I had heard about them through the grapevine as a rumor, that there was maybe some other lines being added under Selected's profile, and I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. But there wasn't really a lot of info. When this press release came out and I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, so that's one of the lines. That's interesting, and it was interesting because it's a whole new line that is going to be in this set. It's going to go out, but it hasn't been formally even announced on its own or released. But I think I'm guessing that maybe we're going to see this in a standalone presentation at PCA, if that's the case.
I'm going to guess that's the case, Matt. And I think this was actually a brilliant move by Oliver Nouveau. So essentially what he's doing is, look, he's taking care of one of his key retailers, and they're going to have the first shot at this new Alfonso line, right? Which it's an important one because this is going to be Nelson Alfonso's fourth brand with Bandolero, Byron, and Atabay. But now what he's got the opportunity to do is do a full launch at the PCA and not really have a single store release kind of steal that thunder. So I think I didn't talk to Oliver. I'm inferring all this. I think it was a smart move by it, and it's going to allow Alfonso to really have its day in the sun in Vegas this year, so to speak.
Yeah, Vegas is going to be interesting. I anticipate seeing some more releases like that at the show. I mean, I've heard rumors about a couple of brands having some new stuff. Obviously, there was rumors that LFD maybe had something new, and then of course that was confirmed when Lido came on.
Tobacco?
It came on
Yeah.
Smokin Tobacco. You heard it here first. Don't forget it. A Smokin Tobacco exclusive. LFD will be launching a new cigar known as the Soleil.
Yep.
We will see that at PCA in July. It is, in Lido's words, kind of the opposite of Lennox, which is the night. Soleil means the sun or the sunshine. This cigar, and Lennox was blended by one of Lido's sons, Tony Gomez, who most people know. But Lido Gomez Jr., his other son, this is a project that Lido Gomez Jr. has been working on. So he'll have another son have a kind of a project come out, and it'll be known as the Soleil. Not much information is available on that right now. So that information will be made available when it is, but probably won't hear about it until it's unveiled at PCA. So during the trade show is when you'll get more info on that, most likely. So keep an eye out for that. We will get that information too as soon as we can. We're really excited about that one. It's going to be a really fun trade show. Sorry, we're not even there yet, and there's already some interesting things that we can expect.
Those two cigars you just talked about, Alfonso and Soleil, they're right at the top of my list right now.
Yep.
For releases. Again, I want to see what Nelson's going to do with this fourth brand. And obviously, we've been waiting for something from LaFleur for a long time. I mean, I want to say 2016 or 17 maybe. I think it was 17 the last time. So we have some excitement right now with some of these are releases that excite me. And I think it's going to excite a lot of people. I don't think they're going to let people down.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing about the trade show that we're going to get right into tonight, because we're just going to dive right into this. Actually, hold on, stop. Let me pause before I get into that part, because Mitchell actually just brought up something. Cough, cough, Puente Padron. So, Coop, you and I, you were present for the Cigar Family Charitable Foundation celebration show.
Yes.
when Carlito was on with us on the air. He kind of slipped up and made a comment about this, and then pulled it back real fast and was like,
Oh
"Well,
yeah. Oh
nothing,
yeah.
nothing, nothing. I didn't say anything." Um, so, uh, from what it sounds like, this project it's not dead. It's definitely there. Carlito acknowledged it.
Yeah.
I think if I had to take a guess as to what's going on here, I'm gonna say I think that the cigars probably have been made or at least blended. And I think that now I think the reason why we haven't heard anything more is I think that there's some non-tobacco related logistics to it that they're probably still working out between the two families. And I don't know what's the over under we see this at PCA this year.
I'm gonna say over under. I don't know. What do we want to set it at? I'm gonna say probable. So I'll kind of go with the definite, probable, questionable, doubtful, or not at all. I'm gonna go with the probable. The booths are set up. Carlito said this. I validated it. Fuente and Perdone's booths are set up to be right next to each other. That never happens. I think they want to get this out at the trade show this year. I know Carlito. You know Carlito. He ain't gonna let this go unless it's perfect. So he's got to have everything done, otherwise it's not going to happen. But compared to last year, like last year, I had no chance it was coming out. Right, I knew I had a no chance. I didn't even have doubtful. So this year, I'm kind of going with probable. I think it is going to come out. How when it's released and shipped is another story, and how much of that's going to be available is another story. But nonetheless, that is going to be a monumental moment for our industry when that happens.
I think so too. It's a historical release, in my opinion. So I'm excited to see that. That's
I
another
don't know if I'll
one.
ever smoke it. I don't know if I'll ever smoke it though. That's kind of like why I'm not maybe. I hope I get an opportunity to smoke it. Yeah.
I would say if it does come to fruition, that would be the third. Well, it's third and fourth cigars. It's two cigars technically, but as a project, that's the third project with the other two
Yeah.
cigars that we already mentioned.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
also, so far off the bat, if Soleil's, I pretty much I think confirmed for PCA based on what Lito said. It sounds like we're probably going to see Alfonso from United at
Sounds
PCA
like
if it's
yeah.
coming out. If it's already coming out in another project, I think we're gonna. It's probably going to be unveiled. And then the Fuente Padron cigars, I think there's a good chance we see that this year. So as long as all three of those are happening this year, so far, let's play the hypothetical game. So far, there's already four cigars technically. There's already four major cigars that we're gonna see from people that are gonna make a lot of noise at the trade show this year, and we're just getting started with preseason right now. This
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
really interesting.
Yeah. It is. Every year I do a top five list of the hottest cigars, but I only can do the cigars that are pre-announced. So, but this year, which I'm changing it up, it's only that list will only cover regular production cigars. So because at this point, like nothing's gonna top Fuente and Padron, and that's probably gonna be a limited release. But we're looking to focus a lot more of Cigar Coop on regular production stuff. But we'll acknowledge some of these high-profile limited edition cigars that are coming out. I mean, there's others. There's a Flor de las Antillas 10th anniversary cigar, a Manolo Casota 75th anniversary cigar, Room 101 13th anniversary. Still waiting for that photo, Matt.
So yeah, Matt, still waiting.
Yeah. Go back to United Cigar. This Red Anchor brand, it's a high priced item they're gonna have.
You know, I
Right?
forgot about Red Anchor. That's another one.
Yeah.
Red Anchor is going to
Now,
be a big deal.
yeah, it's gonna be a big deal. Now, I think there's a great story with the age of the brand being like over 200 years old. But the fact that this cigar is going to have a $25 price point, I know they're not going to put out junk for $25.
No.
Namely, they're selling Atabays at that price. So this cigar, I think they got to be confident it's going to be right up there with Atabays and Byron's. So
Yeah, and they partnered with the Kellners on that, right? I think that's what it said.
they partnered with Hankey's son, the Kellner Boutique Factory.
Class Kellner.
Hendrick.
Hendrick, yeah. Okay.
Hendrick, yeah. So
I mean,
I'm
they
just
make some
double
good
checking that.
cigars. Just saying.
Hendrick's got like a true boutique factory down there.
Yeah.
It's much smaller than the Davidoff thing, but yeah, that was my understanding. Yeah, KBF's the name of the factory.
Hmm. Yeah, so right out of the gate, even that those 5 cigars right there. I mean, that's already like I said before, assuming that all of them are real and ready to go for PCA, and we actually do see all of them. Um, that's 5 cigars right there that are red hot. And when you look at who's putting them out, I mean, 2 of them are under the United umbrella, which is going to be huge for them because they are.
Yeah.
I talked to Oliver about this at TPE, and the last time he was on the show, they have been just a runaway freight train. When you look at
Well,
people who are just like, not only just putting stuff out, but they're putting the right stuff out, they're doing it
yeah.
right, and then it's getting like so much attention, and
Oh,
they're
yeah.
selling it. They are like a runaway freight train right now. Um, all their firecracker releases, I actually, one of the cigars I was going to smoke after this, which I don't have, is the Mezcla Cubana.
Bru- yeah, brilliant release by them. Come out with a bargain cigar in the middle of an inflation thing. Brilliant move.
Oh, I absolutely. Um, and they're being delivered now. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Um,
if people are asking about Saka,
Here it
I
is
don't
right
have any
here.
more info yet. So
That's
you
the
got it.
Mezcla Cubana. Yep, there it is. I'm gonna smoke that
Uh,
next.
I'm excited about that. Like I said, I think like I said, I see a lot of people not taking advantage. This is the time to come out with a $6 cigar. This is the market to doing it. Don't wait a year. You want to do it now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that they're on a roll. And they're already putting stuff out there. They're teasing some other stuff. There's some fill in the blanks on some other stuff. I think United's going to be good. Fuente Padron, 2 of the biggest names in the game. That's a project that's obviously a huge deal and one that everyone's been waiting to figure out. Like, okay, well, what's going on here? We heard about it, but what's going on? If that does come to fruition, that's a huge splash.
Yep.
And then what else did we mention? Oh, and then
Uh,
LFD. So LFD returns to the trade show after
yep.
being absent. Um, LFD being kind of quiet the last couple of years, trying to get caught up
Yep.
with production and get inventory out, which is totally understandable. And they've had like their TAA releases and stuff like that, but actually a new major core line
Yeah.
introduction. This could be big. So I mean, you're talking some popular brands, some
Yeah.
big brands, some big stuff coming, and I'm sure there's going to be more in the coming weeks. So we're already off to a good start. Now, what I will say, Coop, and I know that you wanted to get into this, there is
Right.
obviously the PCA Trade Show exclusives. Now,
Yeah. Which
I've,
we haven't
I
mentioned yet.
we haven't mentioned. I know what your take is, and me and you, I think, we're pretty much in the same boat. We're
Right.
both not really big fans of it, and it's interesting because I understand the concept behind it, but the problem is with the trade show exclusives is, well, one of the things for me, I look at it like this, and I talk to a lot of retailers. There's a lot of retailers out there. There's a lot of retailers out there that do big business with some of these brands, and sometimes, for whatever reason, and it doesn't even have to be a negative reason. Just, hey, they won't be making it to the trade show. They can't make it. They can't go. They want to go, or it's just they can't be there. Well, they miss out on shop exclusives, right? Now you're talking about they're
Yep.
missing out on the brand exclusives, show exclusives from brands that they do a lot of business with. They've been selling that brand for 20 years. They
Right.
can't make it to the show. They really want that exclusive. The brand won't sell it to them because, oh, you didn't come to the show. But like 100 new accounts that showed up for the first time, oh, they get to carry it. So now you have some retailer who's never carried your brand before selling an exclusive, and a guy who you do hundreds of thousands of dollars in business with, he don't have it, and his customers are like, oh, where's that cigar? Oh, we didn't get it. Why? Oh, we couldn't get to the trade show and they wouldn't sell it to us. Just
I,
like I
for,
understand the concept, but it's just a
yeah.
little, I don't know.
It, so there's a lot of questions I have on this now this year, in what you just said, whether they're going to be able to get the cigars or not. So, for example, and I have the list of what's been announced so far, right? Most of these cigars are re-releases from last year.
Yeah.
So the question is, if you came to the trade show in 21, right, and you missed the 22 show, can you still get these? That's where my question is with that, right? Because I think that why would you penalize someone at that point, if they came to the trade show? But here's what I have. And here's the other thing. This list is completely unimpressive, and except for one cigar maybe or two. So Aganorsa Leaf has line extensions to their Anniversario Maduro line. CLE and Asylum are releasing, I believe, the same thing as last year. Crux is releasing their Limitada. They release that every year. La Polina is releasing the Goldie Prominente, which they released last year. Rocky Patel is offering the ALR second edition, which was not only released last year, but is practically on every store shelf that had it. And Tatawahe has the one that I think I'm interested in is their PCA 2022.
That's
Alec
a good
Bradley's
one.
doing it. Now, I think that's one that's exciting. Alec Bradley will have one, but they haven't announced what it is. Now, I'm not a fan of that. But Alec Bradley has had success with mystery unveilings at the trade show. The last time they did it, they did Magic Toast and they knocked it out of the park. So I'm going to say Alec Bradley could probably get away with that. But is there any? I mean, these cigars I don't think are anywhere. Maybe the Tatawahe is the one I'm interested in.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing exciting me about these cigars. Like what I actually say, I got to get to the show to get these cigars.
And the thing with Tatuaje, though, is you have to look at, Pete's really good at releasing a lot of small batch things. So that's kind of in his wheelhouse. I mean, he has a lot of core line stuff, but he also has a lot of small batch stuff or limited releases or small runs. And he puts a lot of focus into these things. And, historically, a lot of his releases like this have been very good. He does a TAA that's every year that's been really popular. Doing a PCA exclusive. I have high hopes on that. Cigar is good. Do I still feel the same in terms of PCA show exclusives as a whole? Yes. Cigars themselves, we want to get into that conversation. I have high hopes for Tatuaje. That's I don't like to say a sure home run kind of thing, but I feel good about that one. But yeah, there's some that have been re-released, or like you said, Alec Bradley doing kind of a mystery release. I could see the skepticism on that one. However, like you said, Alec Bradley has been. They have a good track record as well. I'd be surprised if whatever this was a sinker. Alec Bradley. I mean, I was talking to Bradley about it. They've even when they did Kintsugi, they didn't. He told me, he's like, we didn't think that this thing would be what it is. We really didn't. We were like, this is a good cigar. We're gonna put it out, and hopefully it'll perform good. That cigar performed better than good, and even he's like, we did not see that. I have good faith in Alec Bradley as well. I think that's another good one. That even if it's very mysteriously, you know what? I'm curious to see what it is, and I have high hopes for it. Unless it's something that they're going completely like wild direction with, that maybe is like very experimental and it just doesn't hit right. I think they'll be good as well.
Yeah, they were tight-lipped. I was in their office a couple weeks ago, and they were tight-lipped on this thing. I couldn't get anything out of them on it, even off the record. And look, unfortunately, some of the other releases, like Alec Bradley's going to unveil this at the show, which is great, but some of these other releases, are going to, unfortunately, we're going to have to wait for a certain print publication, to do that, which is a whole other problem we've talked about.
And you know what? Though, Coop?
Yeah.
I will say, if you're going to do the PCA exclusives to draw people in, regardless of how we may feel about it, props to them for doing that, though. Because you know what? It's like, all right.
They haven't even been doing that. These companies have done a terrible job at marketing their PCA exclusives. They've done nothing to market them. And I'm even going to put Pete in that category. He announced it, but he really hasn't been generating excitement on it. So, I think I would be every day pushing these cigars, and there's a bunch of companies that haven't announced them yet. I don't know what you're waiting for, because we're about 5 weeks out from the show, and people are gonna make decisions to come. Now is the time to announce this stuff.
Yeah, Dan Thompson from McAllis with Dan. What's up? How are you, buddy? He says to us, you never know what is going to be received hugely and be a game changer, and that's so true. There's cigars that see at ground zero on the trade show floor, and then everyone leaves. We try samples, but it's hard to gauge. It's hard to gauge the whole thing on one sample. You can get a good idea, but when the cigars actually hit the shelves and people are buying them, and then they're coming back to buy them is when you really know. So it is hard. You never know what's going to be. You see it, oh, that looks good. All right, cool. It sounds really interesting. That blend, those tobaccos sound good. And then it goes out, and you're like, all right, and then you wait. You basically wait to see, well, all right, let's see how it performs on shelves. And then, a few months go by, and it's now it's available, and you start hearing noise, like, oh, we can't keep these in stock. Oh, really? I didn't think there wasn't really a lot of hubbub around that at the trade show. And all of a sudden, it's like the number one selling cigar right now. So, or, you know what? It could go the other way, too. There's cigars that get a lot of hype. Oh, this is going to be it. This is going to be it. And then it finally goes out, and people go, everyone was talking about this. I thought it was, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't game changer.
We see this happen so much. I mean, the one that comes to mind, I go back to Magic Toast in 2018. That thing became a monster for them after. I mean, I don't think it had some buzz at the trade. It had a little bit of buzz that they kind of unveiled it, but after the trade show, the reaction that was one of the biggest hit cigars they had. So that was a huge one. But I've seen other releases like go completely flat out of the trade show.
Oh yeah.
So I've seen some of the La Polina cigars, which people were excited about. They've gone flat. So it's a tough thing to kind of tough thing. You can't figure. It's hard to figure this out. And that's why when I do this top 5 list, doing it with core lines makes it a lot tougher to do, because limiteds are easy. You're gonna sell. You'll sell them out at the trade show. And if they move fast off the shelves, then it's a hit, But core lines are tough to pick where they're gonna land. I think that's much more challenging to do.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
You mentioned Room 101 with their 13th anniversary. Matt is pretty much on par now. It's the 4th release now. He started at the 10th anniversary in 11 and 12, and now it's the 13. So. Which he has announced, he has teased,
and
to
he's given it to a
cigar aficionado. Yep.
But he has said he's going to give me the info. So I did reach out to him. He said he was giving me the info, but I'm not going to borrow him on a holiday weekend. So he'll hear from me again next week if I don't get it.
Likewise. So so that's going to be coming. I think that in terms of like Room 101, I think that's the only thing I've heard. Oh no, there's also going to be. I think there's another big payback coming.
Yes, there's another big payback coming. And back to LFD, it sounds like the Lito Gomez series is coming back.
Yes, that's true. I think that one is coming back as well.
As well as so that's another and we've been waiting for one of those for a long time. Carney's been talking about that for at least 4 years.
Right. So we'll hopefully see that. Dan Thompson is.
Yeah.
Dan Thompson's with us. McAuliffe also making the return to the PCA Trade Show.
Very excited about that. Yes, very excited about that.
Very excited. Actually, he just chimed in. We won't have any limited editions, but forecasting production and demand is more art than science. It's true. And I haven't talked to Dan on PCA. I don't know if there's anything. I've talked to him. I got to be very careful with what I say. Especially because he's watching. I've talked to him about a couple little things that I know they were working on, but I can't remember what we're going to see at the trade show. So I don't want to comment too much on that because I'm not sure. But I think we're going to see at least something new from McAuliffe at the trade show. But regardless, having them at the trade show is going to be great. Really excited to see them on the show floor. That's going to be awesome.
And if you haven't met retailers, haven't met them, this is a company you want to meet the people behind at McAuliffe.
100%.
And I could tell you, when they were at the Great Smoke and consumers were meeting them, and I had several consumers come up to me and saying, you know what, those McAuliffe folks, aren't they something special? And that was great to hear that. And oh, by the way, McAuliffe's a 365-day-a-year company. Even if they don't come out with some of the trade show, don't worry, they've got a lot of plans. So I'm just and I'm not gonna say any more because I'll get in trouble with Dan. But I'm confident. Like I said, it is really good to have them back at this trade show. They're going to be an asset to the trade show.
Yeah, they've done a really good job with their consumer engagement, their social media connection to really get themselves out there in the community, get their brand known. They do a really good job with their ambassador program. They've been making some changes with their product and some of their branding and packaging, and some of the stuff has been changed a little bit. The Riata line, if I remember correctly, the Riata line was tweaked a little bit and then re-released. If I remember correctly, I think so. I think the wrapper changed on that cigar.
I don't
Daniel,
think they changed the blend. Dan could tell, but I don't. I thought it was just a packaging change they made on it.
yeah,
And a side, yeah.
I thought me, and I could be wrong. I thought they changed something, but Dan is here. I'm sure he'll chime in and tell us. But no, just as a whole, they've done a really good job. They've been really focused on everything. They've been kind of all over everything. They've kind of covered every base. Having
Yeah.
them come back to the trade show and being out there and accessible, I think, is also going to be great. They're also very good and receptive to questions, comments, concerns. Anytime you can, anyone,
Very
even the
open, very
consumers, you
open.
can, hey Dan, I had this cigar, or blah blah blah. They take a lot of feedback. They really like feedback and they run with it. Very good with that, I have to say. They
Yeah.
are very good
Yeah.
with that. Dan says we have a PCA exclusive for our brick and mortar partners, but it's not a cigar. And then he says no blend changes. Two new Vitolas in Riata, Toro and Corona Extra. All right, so yeah, I knew there was two new sizes. I couldn't I couldn't remember all the details. But yeah, there are two new sizes.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought the wrapper changed. Maybe it was just I don't know. I thought the wrapper was darker, but you know what? It could have been something else. These things happen. So yeah, they're another one. One of the things that came out recently this week, actually, we got an email from the PCA. The members did, like Coop and myself. So I was at TPE, and you were not at TPE.
Yep.
But I think you had a little bit of traveler's remorse for not going after, seeing.
Well, I did, but in hindsight, it was probably the right thing not to do. Obviously, what happened with my dad, I needed that time off. So
True.
Yeah, so things work out for a reason sometimes. Yeah.
However, that TPE show was pretty good for what it was. They had some really exciting stuff outside of the trade show floor that everyone partook in. Their industry night party was fantastic. And then, lo and behold, we get an email from the PCA this week that they're doing a nightclub event. And I go, interesting. That's very interesting. After the massive private party at the Sahara Pool Club that we went to at TPE, and now PCA's got a nightclub thing that they go. I didn't read the whole thing, but I saw enough to be like, that's interesting.
There's not a lot of details on it.
Huh.
And the biggest question I have, and I didn't even have a chance to talk to Jay on this, is are there going to be cigars there? And it's a good. I mean, I would hope that some manufacturer is sponsoring that thing, and there's going to be cigars.
Yeah. Drew Estate sponsored the TPE party. They were handing out Undercrown 10s and acids.
I mean, it would be a good opportunity, like even if you try to get a few people there. If you can't get one, to cover it. But I would hope, because I'm not. I mean, here's the thing: the nightclub thing is not my scene, right? But obviously, if there's something launching or something, I'll be very curious to go there, and I hope you could smoke there as well. So these are questions I have on this. But I think this ain't to criticize the PCA. I think it's a good job. I think they did a good job on this. Good job by PCA to get something out there.
I think it's great.
Yeah, I mean, so I think it's a good thing. This is not a criticism, but I have questions, obviously, what it's going to really comprise of.
Yeah, me too. I am very interested.
What is it? It's Sunday night or Monday night, I noticed.
I think it's Sunday night.
Yeah, those are the two most. I'm not a big fan of Vegas nightclubs because they're very crowded.
They are.
So, but they're big too. So I don't think
Vegas nightclubs are also different than the average nightclubs. They're just a little bit more cranked up. So.
If I was trying to meet chicks in a nightclub in Vegas, it's too crowded. That's what I just told people. Told my son that.
Wow.
I went once, and I never would. But I went. It wasn't a sponsored event. It was just like, hey, we went in, and I'm like, this is crazy. I couldn't even move my arms. So
I can just picture you. Like, let's take Lisa out of the image for a second. Like, let's just pretend
she wasn't even there. Yeah.
No, I just mean like in general. Like, let's just pretend that you're a single bachelor, right? I could just today, you showing up to a nightclub, trying to pick up chicks in Las Vegas. That is an image. And you know what? The sad thing is, I'd be there with you. Like, I'm with Nicole, and I'm not changing that part. But I'd be there just to be like for support. Be like, yo. Let's do this. Let's find you a nice middle-aged girl who's gonna, make you feel special. And it would be very hard because it's not the scene for you.
No,
After an hour,
no,
you're gonna be like, it's too hot and it's too loud in here. I don't know. I'm gonna go back to my room.
yeah, right, no, but in this case, this is something that's rented out for at least till like a certain hour for everyone. So.
It's like
But they,
It's like Jeffrey Tambor said in The Hangover, and he was like, "What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas."
yeah,
Except
nothing gonna
herpes.
happen when
Except
there's
herpes.
nothing
That shit
gonna
comes back with you.
You're gonna have a pretty boring night following me around in Vegas. Is what I'll just tell people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, we have too much fun on here sometimes.
Yeah.
But no, that is interesting, and it's, to me, I see that as PCA is trying to think outside the box. They're trying to think outside the trade show floor. They're trying to find more engaging, encompassing activity to the whole weekend of the event.
Yeah, and for those who are already throwing darts at the PCA over this, right? Stop, okay? Look, I have questions. That's fine, but this is a positive. I see people knocking this already, and it's like, well, give them a chance. They're really doing some other things. I'll talk about a media thing they're doing out of the box as well. Like I said, I'm very pleased with what they're doing this year as an organization. Except the PCA exclusives, I think they should get out of that. That's just my opinion, because I think they're spending too much time organizing that. That's the reason why I think they should just get out of it and let companies do it by themselves.
Yeah,
But
I
that's
think
just
I
me.
think that
Yeah.
I think it gets
Yeah.
the PCA exclusive thing. I think is just it's too.
It's a lot to manage. It's a lot to manage.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It
Yeah,
and
that's-
you know
and
it's
not. Yeah. I don't put that on the PCA as much as I put the manufacturers and making it difficult for them.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
We already had covered the. Sorry, I'm just looking at my notes here. We covered that. We talked about the PCA exclusives. We had lack of press release season prior to PCA.
We kind of hit on that already. It's kind of
we hit that.
a lot of stuff is I think it's being held by print media. But just back to PCA, did you see the email or the announcement on the media?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Thank you for PCA for finally putting us. If that's gonna happen, thank you for finally putting us on your website.
Yeah.
On this, it's taken a long time. It's only something we've asked for 12 years, but the regime that's in there has listened, and thank you on that.
Thank you very much. Shout out to Erin Holland from the PCA. If you don't know Erin Holland,
she's doing a good job with that.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
She's going to be coming on the Smokin' Tabacco show. It'll be her first
Cool.
podcast appearance. Very excited. I told her we're going to be very easy with her. It's her first time, so we'll ease her into it. But it's right. I think it's a couple weeks into June, so it'll be right before the trade show. So it'll be interesting. We can talk to her about that. Also, she's going to be pretty much in charge of that whole media department with PCA. So she'll be someone we can really get more information on this out of on the show in terms of what exact steps they are taking to bring us in and really and they're going to get us connected with all the manufacturers and get the retailers connected to us so that they can get information, which is really good because it helps everybody, and that's why we're here.
They have look. The PCA war with the media has gone on forever, right? It really hasn't been much of a war. It's always been 2 or 3 people bitching every year, but in terms of them like really making an effort, like this is the best year I've seen this, and I thank them a lot. These little, it may seem like little things, and a guy like Skip Martin, who will always shit on stuff like that because with media, right? He shit on me on something the other night, complaining that why should anyone be concerned about media web traffic? And I can talk about that in a minute, but these little things are very important for us. And oh, by the way, web traffic is very important because this is what happened. This is why I'm a little irked at Skip. With the big four out there, I'm telling you that hurts my bottom line, okay, with numbers. The big four generated an enormous amount of traffic, and it has to be recouped somehow. So I need all the help possible to recoup that. That's people going to our videos, our audio, our articles, just like you do. So all these little things help. It's just it maybe seem like a little thing, but it helps us. And with the cost, Matt, I don't know what your costs are this year. These airline tickets were a fortune for my team out there. One ticket was $1,000 for one of my team members.
When did you book?
Recently.
Yeah, see, I booked PCA like months ago.
Good. Yeah, I mean, smart move. We probably should have did that, But I'm just saying our costs are high, and we need to generate traffic because that's how we make our money. That's how that translates into money for us.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the
Yeah,
trade show is
yeah,
money for us too,
yeah.
in our own way. But we don't just we don't just go out there for the content. It's
Well, we got that for free cigars, of course, right?
oh, we can't forget we're there for the free
Yeah,
samples, of course.
yeah.
That's the
So
running gag.
if anyone wants to cover my free ticket, the $1,000 ticket we had with free cigars, we're not going to turn you down. Uh, but we prefer you send the boxes afterwards, so I'll have to carry it back.
Yeah, absolutely, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, our coverage of the PCA Trade Show once again will be brought to you guys by Drew Estate, the
Drew Estate's
rebirth of
doing.
cigar.
We have two sponsors here: Drew Estate and De Los Reyes.
Oh,
So they're
nice.
doing Coop. They're doing us as well. So
Yeah, our friends at
thank
Drew
you.
Estate. Yeah, thank you
Yep.
to them.
And De
Um,
Los Reyes has been ours from day one, and that will never change.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, we needed. I would have loved to not have multiple sponsors, but these costs have been high this year for us to go.
yeah, no, I agree.
I wonder how it's going to affect fringe media. I'm kind of curious to see if some of the fringe media stays home this year because the plane tickets are expensive.
Well, things are expensive. Fuel's expensive right now.
Yeah.
Demand
Yeah.
is back up again. People are
Yeah.
traveling. The pandemic is
Yep.
way further down the line.
Yep.
People are getting out there. Sorry, I had a burp stuck for the longest time. I know it sounds gross, but it was just like it kept getting me caught up. Unfortunately, we were able to book all of our stuff well in advance before everything kind of started to really take off with the rising cost of everything, which is good now. But of course, the next time we go to book something, and it probably won't be so easy. But yeah, no, it is expensive. And going to the trade show, it's the things that we do there and all that in the end, it pays for us being there. So yeah, to be able
Yeah.
to recoup that, like you said, that's a huge deal. So by
It's a deal.
certain people not going,
Yeah.
it takes a lot away, which is unfortunate. But there's a lot of
Yeah.
reasons why they're not there, and we've gotten into it before. And
Yeah.
um,
I did speak to one media guy who is not going because of his day job. Actually,
okay,
there's a couple in that boat, and you can't fault. Look, you still can't fault guys on that because they still have to pay their bills at home.
yeah, of course,
So yeah, but yeah, there are a couple of guys who I think aren't going to be there for, and I don't want to say who they are, but they did. I did see a couple of them over the past few weeks. So
yeah, absolutely. Everyone kind of has to do things in their own way. And it can be tricky, but
yep,
everyone has to make sure that obviously most people have regular jobs too, as you and I
yep.
do. So we're very strategic with how we plan our trips and whatnot. But regardless of that, one thing I saw this week, I don't want to get too into it. I just want to point it out. We've talked about this already. I just thought it was interesting. We don't have to get into it, but I just want to highlight it because I thought it was interesting. If you don't want to speak on it, that's fine, but I'm just going to touch on it. Just so you know.
Okay.
Earlier this week, we saw a cigar come out online. That's an Altadas brand cigar under the Romeo line, and it is striking resemblance, both in the way it's wrapped and the shape and the size, to another cigar that is very famous from Arturo Fuente. Just peculiar, interesting.
No habla inglés.
Yeah, I know you probably don't want to comment on it. I'm just
No habla inglés.
throwing it out there. Just interesting. And the only reason I want to bring it up, I'm not going to get on sides with it. I don't want to get into that. All I want to say is just from the third party look, I'm not going to comment on whatever. I just want to say I'm just curious how the other brand is going to respond to that. That's all. I don't know. I don't, whether it's good or bad. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of, it just seems like one of those things that I don't know. I'm interested. That I don't wonder if that's going to be a big deal between those two companies. That could turn into something, and which we'll get into if it does. But very interesting. what seems to be, for those who want to know, a very 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 close copy to the Between the Lines in the Romeo and Julieta line. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't want to get into it. It's just something I've noticed, and just curious to see how that will unfold between those two companies. I don't know if that's going to be a big deal, but we'll see. Time will tell. I'm getting ready to light up my La Mezcla Cubana.
Oh, interesting.
I'm going to light that up. Let's see how this
I
cigar
just, I just
forms.
got mine. Upon
Is it the one size?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a Rothschild.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna do more sizes of it.
Yeah. But for now, they only have one available.
Did you get any other cigars from them recently?
From who? United?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I don't think
Okay.
so.
Okay.
I'm going to light this up. Sorry. That cut was a little... Well, I mean, the cut was good, but the cap was a little soft. All right. Let's go. Have you smoked this yet? I couldn't remember. Did you say you smoked
No, I got them. They came right when I got back from Florida Monday.
it? Okay.
So I put them in the humidor. I mean, my wife had gotten back from Florida a few days before I did, so I stayed down there a few extra days. So they, they were put away, and I'm just gonna give them a little shot to acclimate because we're in a humid season down here.
I went to Two Guys Smoke Shop today, and I grabbed these. So I'm going to light this one up right away. And my Maxi Jets are running out of fuel.
The other cigar that they have, I saw them smoking it today, was at Studio 21. I'm kind of, they were kind of quiet on the fact. I think I know the factory that those come out of. I don't want to. They're keeping quiet, but I'm pretty sure I know the factory with that. And I'm really. They have a couple of sizes of that were pretty interesting, so I want to smoke it. But like I said, I think United. We have the Bandolero firecrackers coming out pretty soon.
Yes, that's right.
So if these Alfonsos come out, so like I said, we've been talking about United on this show for part of TPE. We think they were the company of TPE for sure. This company's gone next level in the last 12 months, in my opinion. They've done a tremendous job.
The other thing I will say is, I don't think it's really like a secret or anything like that, so I think I can really talk about this, but because it's online, but so I noticed on the PCA floor map that there's going to be a somewhat normal size, booth that was labeled United, and then just to the right of that, on the other side of the aisle, there's a giant square, and it says Nelson Alfonso Selected Tobacco. And I talked to Dave about this. I saw Dave recently. He said, yeah, there's two booths. There's going to be, like a booth that's all the United stuff, and then there's going to be just a selected booth for like Atabey, Byron, Bandolero, and
I think it's a smart move. I think it's a smart move to do that.
And it's
other companies have done that.
And from what I understand, it's a new booth. I think he said that Nelson has redesigned the booth for this show. It's going to be bigger than before, so it's going to be very exciting. Brand new booth, bigger. I think going a bigger booth, maybe that also means they made it bigger because they have new stuff. Maybe this Alfonso is on display that we have heard a little bit about now through this ambassador thing. So maybe they are gonna need some more space to showcase something new. That's also another telltale sign. So just again, that's another thing. Very exciting stuff. They're growing.
Yeah. I've been to the old United booths at PCA. And while they did keep the things separate, I think the problem was when you had that in the same booth, Nelson's stuff just overpowers it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it just the way it's presented and everything. So if you're trying to promote some of these other lines like the United line, La Diana Havana, the La Mezcla, this is going to be a much more conducive way to do it, and I think it's gonna at the same time keep it all in the family, so to speak.
Yeah, that way,
Selected Tobacco is a separate company.
It is, and that way because the stuff that's under United that's not selected, there's a lot of good stuff there still. I mean, like this and all the other brands we're talking about, the United Core line, the firecrackers that are on display.
Red Anchor is going to be there now. Yeah,
Red Anchor will probably be over there. So yeah, I mean, you're right. You don't really want to mix up too much because they have a lot of different things, and they all deserve a lot of their own spotlight.
It does. It does.
So you're right. I think that's a very smart move.
I've seen other companies do that in the past as well. Even Drew Estate, they used to have a separate Hoya section. in their booths, like a corner. Like it was a large. It wasn't just a corner. It was a large area that Hoya would have, and it was the Hoya area.
Right.
So they did it in the booths. This is going to be a little more. It's going to be separate but
It's
together.
separate booths. Yeah.
They'll be adjacent.
They're near each other. They're I think they're on opposite
They're
sides of
adjacent.
the aisle.
You're gonna be able. Yeah, they're on two sides of the aisle. Exactly.
But it'll be nice. And it just, I look at that and I go, wow, again, United stepping up their game. They're on it.
Yeah.
Bigger
they
booth.
They are.
So it'll be exciting. It'll be really exciting to see.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. United and Selected, together. That's one of the first areas I'm going. Day one.
It's got to be I mean, it's got to be especially to go see the Alfonso.
Yeah.
In my opinion, unless I don't know, maybe Oliver's gonna even if Oliver announces the packaging like a week beforehand, Nelson's stuff you want to see in person.
Yeah.
Like because it's beautiful in the pictures, but when you see that in person, the pictures don't do it justice. There's no way you can do it justice. And that's some of the best packaging in the industry right now, for sure.
For sure. Well, 100%.
Yeah.
With Nelson's history with packaging and the things he's done for Habanos, I mean, world class.
Yeah.
World
Nelson's
class.
on my bucket list to interview that guy. I really want to interview that guy.
He's a very tough one to get.
I know. He's very hard, I've heard.
Very tough.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully you'll be at the show and I get a chance to. I'd love to meet the guy.
Oh, you haven't met Nelson yet?
I've never met Nelson.
Ah, interesting.
That's and he's got obviously Nelson's got a whole history beyond what he's doing with Selected Tobacco. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that United again, just a lot of focus on them. They got a lot going on. Then you look at next down the line for me is LFD McAuliffe. Those two booths are next on that list to see them making their comeback and everything that they have going on. Seeing them, meeting with them, talking to them, just very excited.
LFT's back. Let me tell you, they when I was down at the factory, that factory was at 100% capacity. Every piece was moving, and it wasn't just for show. The day we were walking to the factory, I'm just telling you, it was a beautiful thing to see. So I'm very glad for them.
Yeah, it's very exciting to see them, really, moving again. And Carney's back out on the road. They're cranking, and it's good to see. So again, just those three people right there are for me like my most anticipated booths to see. They're the booths I'm going to go to first. United, McAuliffe, and LFD.
Yeah, another one that really I think is worth checking out is JRE. They've announced one cigar already. They have more coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So I always am curious. It's always great to see Justo in the family. So I'm very excited to see what some of the other. I think he's going to be announcing most of that stuff before the show. But I know he's got some new line extensions. He announced the classic line. So that's going to be a lot of activity there for sure, too.
Yeah, and and the Oroas are very unique too. Everything they do in Honduras, and especially with their Corojo tobacco. That's any time they work on sets, it's very unique as well. It's very special, and get to talk to them and see what they have going on is usually there's some good noise there too.
Right, and don't forget they did the Abuelo last year for United. That made my list. That was on my list last year.
It was on my list.
Yep. So, it's a really good cigar if you haven't tried it.
Mm-hmm. So far, this cigar is pretty good.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying this. So if you like that cocoa powder taste with some spice, this EP Carrillo is the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This cigar is good. I like the size. It's burning very well.
Yeah, I caught part of Cigar Authority. I caught the second hour more than the first. They were smoking that in the first hour.
Today?
Yeah.
I missed the show today. I got there after, but.
Did you see last week's show with Dave interviewing his mother?
I went there.
Beautiful thing, Dave.
I missed the first half because I was on my way there.
Listen, I can tell you, I want to do the same thing now because it was special, and Dave should be getting a lot of credit. It was a great interview, and if you haven't heard it, it's not really cigar related, but who cares? It was a good it was a really good interview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and check that out.
Yeah.
What's next on our list for
Do
things
you want to
tonight?
talk a little about the court hearing on Monday?
Yeah, I'll let you take the lead on that one.
Okay, so let me explain what was going on with this court hearing on Monday because we hear about a lot of court hearings. This was a this was an injunction to throw out the deeming rule. Um, and what's important about that is let me kind of pull up my notes here just because I want to make sure I say. So there have been injunctions in the past, okay? But these injunctions we've seen in the past are what we call preliminary injunctions, okay? And preliminary injunctions are typically issued when the lawsuit's pending to try to stop some things from going into motion. Things that may have already been put into motion. It kind of stops those things until like a full case could be held. Like the case held on warning labels and the case held on substantial equivalence.
Mm.
This one's a permanent injunction that they're seeking to just not even go forward with this and throw out these deeming rules. So there were they filed this last year, about a year ago. It finally made it into court for what they call oral arguments, where each side presents their case. The trade associations had their lawyer, Michael Edney, in there. I think he's a very good lawyer, by the way. They've had in there. I think he's done a great job for the industry. Um, there was, I think there was a lot of nothing we heard on Monday. But I still commend our trade associations for putting out memos and putting something out. And I understand they were trying to look at the glass half full on these things, right? Oh yeah, but this was pointed out and that was pointed out. But keep in mind, this goes back to Judge Mehta, who's making the decision, right?
Hmm.
And I've said this is a long shot that this is going to get thrown out. So because Judge Mehta, while he's been sympathetic to the industry, he hasn't been sympathetic to the point that the FDA has this right. He feels the FDA does have this right to regulate. He may not like the way they're doing it, but he feels they have the right to regulate. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I don't think we'll see a decision on this for a while. But again, I don't think people should give their hopes up on this. I'm not trying to be the glass half empty guy. I'm just trying to be the realistic guy that I think this is a necessary step that they had to do. I think you had to try for the permanent injunction, but I don't want to give you hopes up on it.
Yeah, the FDA thing, no matter what it is, it's always it just seems like it'll never end, right? It's like never ending, and
Yeah, they
never
have a
just
new.
there's never just like a clear like one way or the other.
This is a long. This is this when this started hitting the courts in 2016 ish. I mean, we're 6 years into this now. Um, this is going to be a battle we're going to see for the rest of this decade. I can tell you this.
Oh yeah.
And there's going to be a lot of facets to this battle. There's going to be other injunctions filed and things like that. You have a whole bunch of new stuff with the flavored stuff. So this is not going away, but I think they've done a good job at delaying doomsday. I think they've done a good job with that.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, the farther out we push that, and the more we can take away from what it ends up being, is better. You brought up a good point about the flavoring thing. That's also going to be a whole thing.
That
Um,
hasn't even, yeah, that hasn't even, they haven't even gone the judicial route with that yet.
no, they haven't, and that's a whole nother facet um, that's going to start eventually, and there'll be an oral argument period on that as well, and then there'll be injunctions, and they're gonna push that out as hard as they can. And then Swisher and the guys who have the deepest pockets, of course, they're gonna funnel a lot of money into that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
you know,
There's gonna be,
I think another thing to mention. We talked about big tobacco and how they're trying to transition to smokeless. I saw so I was talking about this with somebody. There was news that Philip Morris had purchased Swedish Match recently.
yep.
And then I saw, I don't know if this is new news. I think it is, but then I also heard that Altria purchased a vape company recently as well. I think. I think I saw that. I don't have the information right in front of me, but I think I saw it this week somewhere. I think I saw it on like LinkedIn or something that purchased a um like a vape company, a small
Yeah.
vape company. So you're seeing the big tobacco already kind of throwing the towel with like, well, we're moving towards smokeless.
Well, Swedish Match was already out. Yeah, they were already out of the game at this point too.
Yeah.
They didn't have any more premium lines. But yeah, I mean that's why they did it. That's why they kind of got out of it because they were going to go these alternative routes. So I didn't see the thing that you said with Altus, but I'm not going to doubt it's not true. So yeah, they're definitely.
Altria, not Altadis.
Did I say Altus? I mean Altria. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yes.
Altria.
Yeah.
Who owns Philip Morris? And if you don't know who Philip Morris is the company who owns Marlboro.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't. Like I said, I've always said this from day one. I don't think cigar companies ever had an interest in getting into this premium cigar business from day one. I think they understand this business well enough. It's not for them. It's a handmade cottage industry.
I mean, look
That
what happened
doesn't
with Nat
pay. That
Sherman.
yeah. Yeah. And you talk to Michael. You know, Michael's got a lot of complimentary things to say about Altria, how they handled everything with him, and he understood that there was look, there's business decisions that were affecting shareholders and stuff like that, and I think he felt that they were treated very well by Altria. There's not a bad word. If anything, he's been complimentary towards them, probably extremely complimentary how they handled it. So, you know, that it was a good job there. So, I don't think they ever had an interest in being these alternative things are what they're more interested in right now.
Yeah, I think that's where their focus is.
Yeah.
For us, it's going to come down to, again, everyone being involved as possible. But you're going to see the big companies like Swisher, who owns Drew Estate. They got deep pockets. They have money to spend. General's got money to spend. STG, Altadis has money to spend. On these battles in court. We saw Rocky Patel, who is a lawyer. For those who don't know, that's where he made his bones first. Rocky is a lawyer. He was down in D.C. for this week. I'm not sure who else was there. I know there was probably more, but I know I saw pictures and there was stuff that Rocky had posted that he was there.
Yeah, yeah. There were a lot of people. They had a phone. They had a phone link in as well, which I could not be on because I was in transit that day from Florida, so I could not be on that call that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, here we are once again, Spare Notes, talking about FDA and the PCA and all that
But
stuff.
I think this was yeah. But I think this was definitely a noteworthy thing that these arguments took place.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Sometimes I get a little like, well, like I said, I thought the press announcements. I was happy that they did press announcements, but they had to put something in it, right? Charlie Minato did a comprehensive recap of the whole hearing, by the way, on Half Wheel. So if you want to hear a comprehensive recap of it, he's got it. They didn't do that. They just said, they kind of pointed out things that was said that could cast a bright light on us.
Mm-hmm.
But good job that they did that. I mean, as opposed to just saying nothing, which we've seen in the past. Again, we're seeing some more transparency out of our trade associations right now. And CRA did a good job on this one.
CRA also posted something as well. They sent something out.
Yes, they did. And they
which is nice.
Credit on that.
They do.
Good
they
job
deserve some credit.
I'm going to give them a good job by CRA. And, I was watching some of the highlights from the Marvin Fest, Big Smoke down in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw CRA putting posts up of signing up new members. And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's how you should be using your social media. Good job by CRA. I'll beat them up on it, but I'll say good job. That was a good job they're doing.
You give credit when credit's due.
Absolutely, you gotta give them credit on that. Yeah.
I haven't really seen much on Marvin Fest. Sorry.
It didn't look
Big Smoke.
crowded. However, I don't want to say that it didn't look crowded, but the coverage I saw was towards the end of the event, so I got to be fair on that.
I can tell you through unnamed sources of people who were involved that they sold less than half the tickets.
Well, they were giving away the tickets. We had huge discounts the last week.
So they also weren't really filling that thing up either, which is interesting.
So two things on that. I think it's an expensive ticket. It is on a holiday weekend.
The holiday weekend is, I think, the biggest part of it, too. I mean, because people are already traveling.
Well, Miami's, and I think it's great they're doing it in Miami, but a lot of people see these people already in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
So you got all three of those things kind of going with that, and it was a high-price ticket.
I think the Big Smoke event in Las Vegas is bigger than this.
that's a bigger one, and that's where they do more interactive stuff. They do 2 days. Um, that's not a cheap ticket either, but they don't do it over a holiday weekend.
No.
Like you don't do these things on Memorial Day weekend. I just think I don't know what they were thinking with that, but maybe that's when they can get it.
Yeah, I mean all are very good points, but yeah, they didn't sell a lot of tickets to it.
Yeah.
Which is,
The
probably
East
explain
Coast
that.
version of Big Smoke has always struggled a bit. They tried to do it in Connecticut one year. The New York one used to do well, but then New York made it impossible for them to have it there. Was the
Yeah.
problem. But yeah, so they've struggled a little more with this East Coast angle with it. I've noticed. Um, but they should have it. I mean, Miami, you should be able to do better in Miami than that. But I just think I think in this economy, they had too high a price a ticket with that. When there
And
are other events you can go to
too expensive and at the wrong time.
at the wrong time. And look, I'll say this: Abe's event probably put a ding into that because Abe's event is a big event in South Florida, and there's a lot of locals that go to that. That's not a cheap ticket either.
Yeah, I agree.
And how many of those can you do is the question. So I think they had a lot of things working. I don't think it's a good thing to say if they couldn't sell the ticket, and I don't know what their ticket sales were, but I've heard similar things. But in the end, I want to just say I think it's as much as sometimes I get frustrated with aficionado. It's an important event to have a lot of people there. So,
Oh yeah,
hopefully, some of the numbers we heard were wrong or anything. I don't like I said these are alleged. I can't. So I don't want to say these were facts.
absolutely. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat. That's what people told me. I didn't see the actual numbers myself, but that's what I was told.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, I think that's everything we had on our list.
Yes, I think that's so too. I know you have something to do tonight, so
So I mean, I think we're gonna wrap up our show there. It's a little shorter than usual, but that was pretty much the list. Anyway,
that was what we had. Yeah, that's what we had. Yeah.
so I think that's a good stopping point. I think we covered all the bases tonight. Some good points, and we are officially getting into PCA season. So there will be more. We should be back in 2 weeks as usual.
We will. I'll be available in 2 weeks. It's on my calendar.
Yep.
I'm not traveling, so I will be. I will be there.
And on that show, we're going to start getting a little bit more into, hopefully there's some more stuff that comes out, but we'll be getting even more into PCA as we get into the middle of June.
Yep.
On what we will be seeing in the few weeks later at PCA. So
Yep.
just, keep your eyes peeled and stay with us, and we'll get that information to you. As always, thank you guys for listening to us at home or in the car, wherever you listen to your podcast, but wherever you get them, please don't forget to like and subscribe, as well as on Facebook and YouTube. We appreciate it. Don't forget to visit smokingtobacco.com and cigar-coop.com for more news, information, and all things in the cigar industry. I'm Matt Tabacco. This is William Cooper with me, and that is it. Good night.
See ya.